I'm on my way back home from Death Valley National Park. It's gonna be a 2,000-mile drive, and I need you to find me some cool, lesser-known spots for photography along the route. I want to do this in 4 days.
That sounds like an incredible adventure. I'll put together a list of some unique, lesser-known photography spots along your route from Death Valley to South Bend. I'll break it down by day and make sure each day has a few interesting stops. I'll get that ready for you.
I have 4 days to make it home for Thanksgiving and 2,200 miles ahead of me. It's going to be a lot of driving, but we'll have time to visit ghost towns, incredible canyons, desolate deserts, city river walks, cool waterfalls, beautiful slot canyons, and even spot some wildlife. So grab a cup of coffee or tea or a glass of wine if you prefer, and get ready. This is going to be a long one. Well, I just left Death Valley National Park behind, and now the long way back home begins. It's going to be a 2,000-mile journey, and as you just saw, I let the AI design the whole thing, including some spots along the way that could be interesting for photography. I've never been to any of them, so at the very least they're gonna be new to me. The first of them is not too far from here, even though it's in a different state, but we're already there. Rhyolite is the classic tale of boom and bust in the desert. The town began in early 1905 after prospectors struck gold, worth thousands per ton. In no time, it grew to 5,000 people, complete with banks, a newspaper, a hospital, an opera house, and even a stock exchange. Trains arrived and electric lights glowed. It was Nevada's shining star. But Rhyolite declined almost as rapidly as it rose. After the richest ore was exhausted, production fell and the town faded fast. Today, the Rhyolite Historic Townsite, maintained by the BLM, is one of the most photographed ghost towns in the West. And that was the ghost town of Rhyolite. Pretty cool. We are off to a good start, I'd say. Now though, because I just came from spending 5 days at Death Valley National Park, I need to get some supplies. I need to get some gas, I need to get some food, and I need to take a shower desperately. Tell you what, $3.45 a gallon, that's much better than the $5.15 at Death Valley. And now, an hour and a half drive to Vegas. Even though Nevada might look similar to parts of other states, it feels different. There's something surreal to it. It's like driving on another planet. Oh my goodness, it had been a while. That shower felt so good. I feel human again. Now I'm hungry. Let's grab some lunch. Alright, some fresh greens. I haven't had anything green in a while. We're finishing up here with some dessert. We need to go because the AI made a little mistake. Well, it's a little bit my fault too, because I started pretty late today, but looking at the plan for the next few days, it's telling me to drive around 8 to 9 hours plus go to all of those spots and take photos and whatever. So it's clearly not taking into account that it's the end of November and the days are only 10 hours long. There is not enough daylight to do everything that it's telling me to do. So sadly, I'm gonna have to be selective and skip some of the spots that it's suggesting me to go to. Okay, Vegas, it's been real. I'm still just outside of Vegas, still pretty far from the place I'm going to for tonight, but I couldn't resist to stop and take a photo of this. Pretty cool, but yeah, it is much colder here than it was in Death Valley. By the way, they are shooting there in the field. Probably better to move on. We are driving north now on the Great Basin Highway. Nevada is, I believe, in its entirety in the Great Basin. We entered the Great Basin, I don't know, I want to say a week ago, maybe a little bit longer. But this is a huge area of the West. It's got no outlet, so every drop of water that falls here stays here. Although that doesn't happen very often because this is a very dry landscape all around, as you can tell. And only to prove me wrong, very dark clouds appeared on the horizon. It wouldn't be long before the rain started. This was my first time driving these roads. I was getting farther from civilization with every mile and deeper into the Great Basin. The rain was here, I was getting pretty dark. It's raining quite a lot now, it's getting pretty dark, but we're almost there, half an hour. That was a long drive, but we've made it. Good morning. It's been 12 hours since I arrived here. It's still pitch dark. It was pitch dark last night. It's pitch dark right now, so I haven't even gotten a glimpse of these places yet. We have a very, very long day ahead of us today, so I'm having breakfast now. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna do all of those things that I need to do early in the morning before sunrise, so we can take full advantage of the daylight. All right, we can finally see something. I'm gonna brush my teeth and we'll be on our way. Cathedral Gorge in southeastern Nevada owes its name to the majestic walls created by water over millions of years. Erosion carved the clay and ash in a landscape once occupied by an ancient lake. The gorge is still changing with every storm, with every drop of water. For hundreds of years, this place was used by native peoples for hunting and gathering. In 1935, it became one of the first state parks in Nevada. It is extremely slippery here. It's only a matter of time before I fall. Whoa. It is very, very cold in here. Whoa. It's really hard to convey how slippery this is. Okay, this is gonna be the hardest part here. This is one of the few trails in the park. I would love to go on a little hike, but one, I don't have the time, and two, it's just very slippery everywhere. I know I'm being annoying about it, but I'm a very clumsy person. Almost fell many, many times already. Look at this. Oh no. Oh, that's too bad. This was supposed to be cool. This was the overlook over the gorge, but of course it's closed. So how did the AI do for this first spot of day 2? Well, I think it was cool. I wouldn't make it the main destination of a trip, but this was an hour and a half detour from the straight route home, and I think it was worth it. It'd be even better on a dry day, so you could go on a hike or something if you had more time. But still, pretty cool. So Cathedral Gorge, thumbs up. But now we gotta go, because our next spot is pretty far away. Almost 300 miles. 5 hours, so we better go now. This is another cool picture here, I think. Alright, so there's definitely some fresh snow up here. We are above 6,500 feet right now. I think we are gonna be okay, even though you just never know. We are still pretty far from the next spot we are visiting, but at least we are in the right state because we are entering Utah. This also means that we are leaving Pacific time behind. We are now in mountain time because not only the days are pretty short now, but we are also driving east, which means they are even shorter. Shorter indeed. I was losing around 45 minutes every day I drove east, making the journey even more challenging. The landscape is slowly but surely changing. It's looking more like Utah, more reddish. I just stopped at Walmart for a quick visit to the restroom and also to get a little bit of food for the road. I'm in Cedar City, Utah. It is beautiful here. Just the views from this parking lot is so cool. There are some red cliffs, there's plenty of green, and there's snow on top of the mountains, on top of the hills. Very beautiful here. I had to check it out. That's a Mormon temple. I saw it coming in. I was hoping to find a good angle to contrast that tower against the mountains on the other side, but I couldn't. I'm gonna try taking this straight here. I don't think it's gonna work, but you gotta try it. Nah, too bad. It's just not going to work. As you can see, I try to make these trips as affordable as possible because I have a very small budget. That's why I'm so thankful for my Patreons, because every dollar they contribute goes a long way. If you like my work, joining the Patreon page is a great way to support it, but also going to my website and buying some of my ebooks or physical books. Thank you so much. They trick you here because they advertise the price for regular, but regular here is $85. I've only seen these at some locations in the west at higher elevations. I think for the rest of the country regular is $87. You pull in thinking you are gonna pay $330 and no, it's $370, but whatever, it is what it is. We are once again at snow level. There's plenty of snow on the side of the road. It's not a surprise because we are almost at 8,000 feet, so pretty high and still climbing. But the road is clear, so we should be good. I really had to go, so I stopped at the first place I saw, which happens to be Butch Cassidy's boyhood home. Let's go check it out. Occupation cowboy, criminal occupation, bank robber, highwayman, cattle and horse thief. Cassidy led the wild bunch again as they pulled off some of the Old West's boldest train and bank robberies. He ended up fleeing the US and was shot in Bolivia, even though some believe he made it back and had a peaceful life as a rancher. Butch lived in a very small place, but you can't beat the surroundings. This is beautiful here. Well, let's keep going because this was not part of the AI plan. We still have a couple hours to get to our second spot of the day. Of course, I have to photograph this. So cool. All right, let's go. This is stunning. Utah is beautiful no matter where you are. This part of Utah is new to me and it looks as gorgeous as the parts of the state I know. Gotta fly the drone here. Look at that, the car just turned 100,000 miles right at the entrance of Cathedral Reef. That's amazing timing. It's incredible how the landscape changed all of a sudden, literally around the corner after the town of Torrey, I think that's the name. But it all makes sense now because we are at Cathedral Reef National Park, a place where I've never been before. But no, this is not where we are going. Remember, we asked the AI for lesser known places and this is well known. Our destination is past this park. I'll have to come back here in the future. Cathedral Reef is basically a 100-mile-long wrinkle in the landscape of Utah, filled with colorful hills and massive downs. This is so beautiful. I love these landscapes, even though they are so hard to photograph in black and white, but my goodness. I couldn't resist. I had to stop here and take a couple of images of that rock. Beautiful. It's gonna get dark before we get it to the second spot of the day, but I mean, my first rule when it comes to photography is to never pass on a cool spot. If you see something, just stop and take the picture. This is so cool. This was the school, I think, of an old town here in Cathedral Reef. I wish I went to school here, my goodness. All right, that was pretty cool, but we're still 45 minutes away from the spot. And there's barely more than an hour left of daylight. This is such an interesting place. Again, I've never been here before. I know nothing about this park, but the first half of the drive, or the first section of the drive, reminded me a lot of Arches National Park, and this second section is taking me back to Zion National Park. It's very, very fascinating. Okay, this is it. This is our exit. No signs, no nothing. And there it is. Finally made it to the second spot the AI suggested for today. Okay, I don't have a lot of time here. The sun is setting really quick. I'm just trying to capture the beauty from this view. I don't know if it's the best one or not. The road keeps going, but I don't know. Anyway, this is a hard composition in a square. What I'm doing now is placing the butte on the bottom, getting a lot of the sky, and I'm gonna, of course, make an exposure of that sky. I'm gonna take a regular shot too. Let's see. A couple minutes should be enough to create a lot of movement in the clouds because they are moving really fast. It's a little bit windy, so we'll see. Anyway, let's do it. 2 minutes. It looks good actually, but I'm taking it again because it wasn't very sharp. I'm trying to protect the camera from the wind with my body. I don't know if that's gonna work, but anyway, I also got that regular shot. I'm gonna take another one after this just in case, because I can always blend both shots, the long exposure one with the sky and then the regular shot with the sharp butte. By the way, you might have noticed that I haven't had lunch today. That's how tight this AI schedule was today. Oh my goodness, that light is beautiful. So I'm gonna prepare lunch, late lunch, early dinner. Gonna keep my camera handy there just in case, because the light might do some amazing stuff with this landscape. It's kind of already doing it. Gonna have beans again, but I got cabbage at Walmart, which is gonna be pretty good. Oh, and tortillas. It's gonna be a feast. What do we think about the second spot the AI chose for us today? Well, it looks like a very cool place. I wish I had more time to explore it. I wish I could stay here tonight. I saw a couple of very cool spots and I would love to photograph this place for sunrise, but I can't. It's Monday night. This Thursday is Thanksgiving. I have to be home. Plus, we have a plan to follow, and the plan says we need to go. All right, I'm not entirely sure how much more driving I have to do today because I don't have service here, but I'm assuming another couple hours and then I'll try to find a place, a spot, maybe a rest area. I don't know, whatever it is. See you there. All right, good morning. So I did indeed drive for a couple hours maybe last night. I am now at a rest area somewhere in eastern Utah. I slept good, probably not enough for the massive day that we have ahead of us. Today is day 3 of our trip back home, and the AI has planned quite a few things for today, so I'm trying to get ready before sunrise. Still 5:30 I believe in the morning, to be on the road as soon as possible because we are gonna need all the time we can get. Let's do this. We got 2 spots to visit and photograph today, and the first one is only 27 minutes away, just off the highway, so it should be easy enough. Cisco was born in the 1880s as a watering stop for steam engines. It later evolved into a hub for ship sharing, and it benefited from oil, gas, and uranium booms. But eventually, diesel trains and the interstates bypass in the 50s and 60s killed this little town's economy. Alright, this was interesting. As a ghost town goes, I think I prefer Rhyolite, we saw earlier in this video. Of course, boating, California, which I visited a couple videos ago, I want to say. But hey, I support it. I think it's great that people try to revive these kind of places and do something with them. And again, it's off the highway, so if you're passing by, totally worth a visit. Oh my hair, what a mess. Alright, so the next spot is only an hour and 15 minutes away, so let's do it. Alright, we are now entering a new state, the state of Colorado. Colorado is a Spanish word, but it does not mean colorful, as many people think. You see, Colorado in Spanish means colored red, and I believe that name was first used by Spanish explorers to refer to the Colorado River because it looked red from all the silt. After that, the whole territory, the whole state got that name. It's pretty interesting because there are several states in the US with Spanish names, like Montana comes from the Spanish word montaña, which means mountain. Arizona comes from zona árida, that means literally arid sun. Nevada means snowy. Florida means flowery or full of flowers, I guess. Even Oregon might have a Spanish origin. This is just a theory. No one knows really where that name comes from. But this theory I like is that it comes from the Spanish region of Aragon. And hey, it's pretty close, so it makes sense. I must admit that I had not heard of the Colorado National Monument before the AI suggested me to come here, but I think this is gonna be quite interesting.
Have you been to this park?
No, never.
Okay. There's 23 miles of driving with lots of scenic overlooks. For even better pictures, I would go to the next hiking trail. It's called Otto's Trail, O-T-T-O.
Okay.
And that one's really pretty.
Okay, nice. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Day.
Thank you. You too. Well, that's a sweet view of the city of Grand Junction in Grand Valley. You can see the Colorado River too. Another viewpoint. This is a 23-mile drive through the park with plenty of viewpoints. But hey, if the rest of the viewpoints are half as good as this one, I will not complain. Look at that. I'm gonna try to take some pictures, but I don't think the light is with us this morning, sadly. I need to go to the restroom. I'm gonna try to get a map. Got a map and the hiking trails map too. Very nice. Otto's Trail, that's the one the ranger at the entrance recommended. Let's do it. This location is a total surprise to me. I had no idea there was such a park around here. I think this is called of course, Independence Monument. It looks amazing and it's just so weird to be so close to it and so high. We are at the same height almost. But I think that for photos it would have been better to go to another viewpoint from farther away. Maybe the trail at the visitor center was better for this. There are cool views all over though. This place is pretty cool. This dead tree looks cool there. It's a little bit way too close to the cliff for my comfort, but should be fine from here. Nah, it got cloudy, which helps, but the sun is still on that side, so this side of the canyons are pretty dark, and photographing trees like this one against them is pretty challenging because there is no contrast whatsoever. This looks cool though. We can move it to a photogenic place like here. Something like that. Well, a bit manufactured, but those were my favorite photos of this place, I believe. All right, enough from Otto's Trail because there's still plenty of the park to see. And as I said, a massive, massive drive ahead of us today. Hey, that's a nice view. Okay, this is more what I was talking about, a much better... Wait, that's not the same rock. Oh, so the rock we were just at is on that side, so maybe that's not Independence Monument. Maybe it's that one over there. In any case, no matter which one is the rock with the very American name, this is a much better angle, but we have the whole town in the background and the sun is hitting all the buildings, making them extra bright. So it's not gonna work from here. That could not feel good. Look at that. There's some goats there on the side of the road. Okay, we are back down at the valley, but I think the AI did a pretty good job with this place. It is a place I truly had never heard of before. I think it's a lesser known location, not because it's an ugly place or anything like that, it's because it has a lot of competition. Because not too far from here you have Arches National Park, the Canyonlands National Park, and all the wonderful locations in Utah. Of course, I only scratched the surface here. I'm sure I missed a lot of things in there. By the way, if you know any of these places I'm visiting on this trip and you think that I've missed anything or any other location nearby, please let us all know in the comments. I might visit it on my next trip across the country. But anyway, clear thumbs up, even though from a photographic point of view, all of those overlooks are a little bit diminished because of the fact that the town is in the background. And you know, I'm not one to photograph only pristine nature. In fact, quite the opposite. I embrace, I seek the isolated man-made building, object, whatever. But the key word here is isolated. That big town in the background doesn't do much for me, and it robs those beautiful rock formations of their wildness. You see, the AI gave me a third spot for today. There's only one problem though, and is that the timing is totally unrealistic. It wanted me to overnight in Moab last night and make it all the way to Omaha, Nebraska today. I was telling me that that was a 9-hour drive, when in actuality is more like 12 or 13. That was the first mistake, and that is before including any of the spots we've visited. Driving through the Rocky Mountains always feels bittersweet to me. On one hand, the landscapes are absolutely gorgeous, but on the other, this is the end of the beautiful West and the start of the vast plains. It is here that I start to realize the road trip is coming to an end. Oh, it feels like I've been driving the whole day. Oh, that's because I have. Anyway, we've officially left the West behind. We drove through the Rockies and then through Denver. That was pretty stressful. It was rush hour. It's only 5 p.m., but as you can see, it's already pretty dark. Still wanted to make it much farther east, at least several hours from here. We'll see if I can make that happen, but I'm running out of time because, again, I have to get home on Thursday and I'm still like 16 hours away or something like that. I've got a couple of spots to check out on the way. So let's get in the car and keep going. It is not warm this morning. I'm somewhere in Nebraska. I made it here last night around 11 p.m. so I drove as much as I could. I was tired. I had to take a break. According to the AI, I should have made it to Omaha yesterday, but there is no way because it's still more than 2 hours away from here. So even though today is day 4 and I asked the AI to do it in 4 days, that's just not going to happen. But that's all right as long as I get home tomorrow at a decent time. Okay, I'm done with breakfast and all the morning routine stuff, but you will never guess. It's foggy. In fact, there's a dense fog advisory, so I think this is gonna slow me down even more. There is nothing better than a foggy morning to ease the withdrawal from those stunning western landscapes I was leaving behind. You know, the more I do photography, the more I appreciate moody atmospheric conditions, especially in overlooked spots like this one. There's just so much potential. So of course, even though I didn't have much time, I tried. This is some random gravel lot here. Okay, so this is a dead end. I've been driving around trying to find images in this beautiful fog, but I want them to be, you know, from here, from Nebraska, from Kearney. I don't want yet another lone tree in a field, even though if I see that, I'll stop and take it. But I wanted something more from here, so I think I must give up. I'm going to a spot that I have to admit I dismissed when the AI suggested it to me 3-4 days ago, whenever this whole trip started. I thought it was a little bit silly, but everything has come together. The fact that I stopped at that rest area last night, the fact that it's foggy this morning, everything leads to this moment, even though I still think it's gonna be pretty silly. Okay, maybe it wasn't silly after all. I think that you can work on this. If I had gotten here a little bit earlier, maybe a long exposure in the dark, getting all the headlights of the cars. I don't know, I think you can be creative with the archway itself. If not, the surroundings are pretty cool. You always find interesting stuff everywhere, right? This is cool. Tell you what though, it's very, very cold. Leaving that fog, those beautiful conditions behind was hard. But thankfully, for me at least, the fog went away not too long after that, and it made me feel a little bit better, like I was not missing out on anything. We just crossed the Missouri River and into Iowa. We are getting closer to home one state at a time. I'm here by the side of the road. I took a random exit and I just went for a little drive. The pavement ends right away, so that was interesting. The weather is perfect for the kind of photography that I like to do, and I'm sure there are so many things to photograph on these roads, but it would take me too much time that I don't have. So I'm gonna have lunch and keep going. It is already 2 p.m. We just made it to the first spot of the day, the first spot the AI chose for us, and that is the Des Moines River Walk. So as you can imagine, I don't have a lot of time to spend here. I'm gonna make an image of this very cool bridge over here. I'm gonna do it from the other side because there are some waterfalls. You know, I've driven many times through Des Moines, but I never came into the town, so this is all new to me. I think we want to go down there for sure. I have to go wide here. In order to get a good angle, I had to put the camera on the other side of the fence, and that made me feel very uncomfortable. That was very stressful. I mean, it was totally fine, totally safe, but having the camera so close to the edge didn't make me feel good. What do we think about the first spot of day 4? How did AI do suggesting this place? Well, I actually liked the falls. I think the shape is very curvy, very smooth. I really like that. I think it made for a good photo. About the river walk itself, I can't say much because I only walked like a tiny fraction of it. I don't know. I don't know how far it goes, so I can't judge that aspect of it. But this was the first and only urban spot the AI suggested, so it's nice because it added some variety, I guess. Okay, let's go. One more spot to check out today. Luckily, this one is not too far from here. So I saw exactly 0 signs for this place, but it looks like we are here. This is the Neal Smith National Wildlife Refuge, and supposedly there's bison here. Definitely a very interesting spot the AI chose. Oh, there's something down there. I don't know if it's a bison or elk. Hey, we are off to a great start. That was awesome. Okay, I think I see some bison in the distance. I should have done this already, but I need to mount the long lens. There we go. Let's do a quick. I think that's a bison. I don't want to get any closer. I don't want to scare it because it was walking towards the road, and it'd be amazing if it crossed the road right there. That's why there were no signs to this place. I guess Google Maps took me through the back entrance because this looks like the main way to enter the refuge. I gotta say that I love the landscape. I love the color of the grass. It's so beautiful with this mood, with this atmosphere. I think there's a visitor center not too far away. Maybe it's open. So the visitor center is closed, which is fine. I think we can get a drive tour by dialing a phone number there. Gotta try that.
Hello and welcome to our on-sale tour.
Okay, so I think the way the tour guide works is you just enter the number of the sign. So that's number 2. Oh, dear.
Today, less than 0.1% of Iowa's prairie remains in small, isolated fragments. At this stop, you can compare an agricultural field on the left side of the road with a reconstructed prairie on the right. One of the greatest legacies of the Iowa prairies is the fertile soil, which is the basis for Iowa's economy. Animals like bison and wolves that require large tracts of uninterrupted land could no longer survive in a landscape now dominated by corn and soybeans.
So we are back at the bison enclosure. I'm gonna do the drive again, why not? That was pretty cool. We saw some wildlife, and now I have the guide.
The American bison, or buffalo, once roamed great distances across the North American prairies with a population estimated at 30 to 60 million. Overhunting and habitat destruction reduced the bison population to approximately 1,000 by the early 1900s.
Very cool place. These landscapes are very different from the ones we just saw in the west, but it's beautiful here. So what do we think of spot 2 of day 4? Well, I think the AI did a pretty good job because I had no idea there was such a place just 15-20 minutes away from Des Moines and pretty much off the highway. Now I'm just stretching my legs a little bit before moving on. All right, I'm making green tea because we have a couple-hour drive ahead of us to the place I'll be spending the night at. And yes, it's another rest area, but this one is different. Iowa 80 is the largest track stop in the world by square footage. It has parking space for 900 semi-trucks. But beyond fuel and diners, it's also got a trucking museum, a movie theater, a chapel, and a massive chrome shop. It's a trucker's Disneyland on the cornfields. Good morning from Illinois. The last state before we get home, I crossed the border under the cover of the night very early this morning. It was somewhat foggy, so I took a couple of random exits. I visited a couple of random towns. I stopped by the side of the road and took photos. All this to say that I'm kind of pushing it here because I have no time whatsoever, but this is the last spot the AI recommended, and we have to check it out because we are here. They really don't want you drinking here. This place is another surprise to me. I didn't know there was such a thing here. As far as I understand it, it's a series of canyons and bluffs by the Illinois River. I have no idea what I'm doing. I had to choose one, so I'm going for this one, the St. Louis Canyon. There's supposed to be a waterfall at the end of the canyon, but everything is a little dry, so we'll see about that. It's not the Grand Canyon, but this is cool. I mean, there's some water and it's falling, so technically it's a waterfall. But yeah, probably a place to visit after heavy rains or something like that. Very nice though, very nice. We even have some petroglyphs over here. Yeah, definitely much better if that waterfall had a bit more water. So probably a place I'll be stopping again in the future whenever I'm driving through again. And this is just one of many canyons. So yeah, Starved Rock State Park gets my thumbs up too. And this is gonna do it for our big trip. I'll be honest, I do look forward to being home, to being with my wife, to having a nice bed every night, to having running water in the bathroom and all of those luxuries of modern life. I do not look forward to the drive that is ahead of me though, because I have an almost 4-hour drive through some of the worst, most stressful roads, at least in my opinion, because driving through the Chicago metro area is just very stressful. So much traffic, so many semi-trucks, so many lanes. Those are for sure very stressful roads, but I made it home just in time for Thanksgiving and I enjoyed my time, quality time with the family after so many weeks spent by myself on the road. This last drive all the way from Death Valley was around 2,200 miles and it took me 4.5 days to do it. I usually do it much faster because even though I know there are images to be made everywhere, well, some places are more challenging and they require more time. Time that I don't always have, so that's why I usually don't stop almost anywhere when I'm coming back home from a long trip like this one. But the way I did it this time made me realize that maybe it isn't that hard to find good images on random overlooked spots. So I think I might take even more time next time. About the AI thing, well, it was a little bit silly. I took what I found the most useful, and that is spots that I didn't think of stopping by or spots that I didn't even hear of before. But the whole planning thing, like do this on day 1, do that on day 2, that was pretty awful. It doesn't account for so many things. So I'd say use it if you want as another tool to find new places or ideas, but when it comes to the planning, there's nothing better than using the good old Google Maps and your brain, because you are the only one who is aware of all the restrictions and all the constraints that you're gonna have during your trip. Anyway, this was the end of my photography road trip after 3 months on the road. A total of 12,000 miles across 13 states. Not too bad. I took more than 10,000 photos, most of them horrible, but some of them I will treasure forever. I'm already looking forward to going on another trip, but to be honest, I was very much ready to spend 2 weeks away from photography doing nothing. The weather, though, had other plans. But this is a story for another day. If you've made it this far, thank you so much.